Hola a todos, bienvenidos. Gracias por conectarse el día de hoy. Está con nosotros Eric y están con nosotros Camila, que vienen de Panda. Y están listos para contestar dudas que tengan ustedes. Pueden levantar con gusto la mano y les podemos ir dando acceso a los micrófonos para que vayan haciendo preguntas. Eric habla en inglés, Camila sí habla español, pero Eric puede responder todas sus dudas en inglés. En caso de que alguien tenga problemas con el inglés y necesite ayuda con traducir, podemos hacerlo. Esta conferencia, este espacio va a quedar grabado para que lo podamos compartir y consultar, entonces pueden hacer todas sus preguntas y tomar notas al final.
Hello, my name is Eric. Obviously, I'm from Panda Game Manufacturing. I work there as a marketing manager and also a pre-press specialist. I've worked in pre-press previously for about 11 years, and then after that, I had a career in corporate communications working at Intel and Microsoft, and then after that, I decided to go in the board game industry, so here I am at Panda. One thing I'll say about the templates on the website is they're designed. I actually got a few questions over social media about this yesterday. They are designed. They're PDFs that are designed to go into whatever application you're using, whether you're using Adobe InDesign or Illustrator, or you can even use it with Photoshop. Anything that could accept a PDF. So they're basically templates. So the easiest way to work with them is just import them into whatever graphics program you're using, as a separate layer, and then you can just build your artwork on top of that.
Good morning to you all. Hello, Eric. Thanks for this space so we can have all our doubts solved with this. I have a question about what is about the cards, because they have in the templates, there is 3 lines. Mm-hmm. It's a blue or cyan line, a red one, and a dotted green line. Mm-hmm. Could you please explain us which?
Certainly.
What does all of those lines do?
Yeah, certainly. The red line is the trim. That's where the cards will be cut. The dotted green line is your safety margin, and that is 3 millimeters away from the trim edge. And that safety margin is you want to keep text and icons and important information within that safety margin, within that green dotted line. The blue line is the bleed. So if you have color that extends all the way to the edge of the trim, the red line, you want to extend that to the blue. And again, that's also 3 millimeters. So you have a 3 millimeters bleed, and then 3 millimeters of a safety margin, and then the red line in the middle is the trim.
Okay, so the red line will be the top of the edge of our cards.
Yep, the red line's the edge of your cards.
Okay, one last question, and I will be over with it. This is about the die cutting. I have some pieces that need to be die cutting.
Like a custom die cut?
Yes, it's a custom die cut because it's in the shape of a diamond.
Oh, okay.
So is there any template or something that I can do in Panda that accommodates to that?
Yeah, the templates you download are for just like standard shaped cards. There's a variety of sizes, like squares and rectangulars. If you need a custom one, and you're working with us, we can make the template for you, or you could adjust one of our templates like in Illustrator. You can open the PDF in Illustrator and adjust them. Or if you're working with a graphic designer, they could use one of our templates as a base. Just as long as they remember, the 3 millimeter safety margins and the 3 millimeter bleed. But also if you're working with us and you have questions about that and need some help with the templates, we can help you out with that too.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'm gonna use a little space here so you can check the templates. Some of them are asking how the templates look like. So wait a second. I hope you can see it. I think it's this one. Can you see the templates over there?
Yes.
Okay, so if anyone haven't do it yet, We have the link in the Jalapeño Games Grumble website, or you can also see it in Panda, and you can ask the template generator. And here you have, as Eric say, you have some like cards. Let me check these ones, and they like let you choose which is the size that you're gonna use. You can select the size. For example, this one is the usually ones that we use more or less in the games in Mexico and Latin America. And we have the download where you can get it. And let me see if they let me share with you the lines that Eric told you. And here you can see the lines that Eric was talking about. We have the green one, then we have like this one that it's like magenta, and we have the cyan one. So this, it's really easy to use, and you can get many stuff. You have paper sheets, and you have paper pads, cardboard. You can use many of them. Also, the box is important. If you get to the next phase, we need the box, so you can design a little box. Okay.
Definitely the template that's used the most is the two-piece game box. That's the most useful. The template generator will automatically, like you put in, like is shown here on the screen, you put in your dimensions of your box, your finished size. It'll automatically generate both the top lid and the bottom lid, and it'll adjust the bottom lid so that it perfectly matches the top. So it'll shrink it a little bit. So that's our most commonly used template. If you're doing cards, you don't necessarily need to have a template for cards. You could just, if you're sending files to us, you can just, lay it out as a page, as a finished size of the card. But it is handy to have the template to kind of like, okay, this is where we will, because the cards have rounded edges. And this is, it shows you where we actually going to cut, die cut the rounded edges on them.
Perfect. Any question about this one? Do you want me to stop presenting, or it's okay for everyone?
Yeah. Oh, the only thing I wanted to say also about the two-piece box is you have a materials selection as well, because we make boxes in anywhere from 1 millimeter to up to 3 millimeters. So if this is just for prototyping or something like that, you don't necessarily have to worry about that. But that material thickness will affect the calculations of the bottom box. Most of our clients usually do a 1 or 2 millimeter box.
Perfect. Okay, so they have some questions for you, Eric. Christian
sure.
Guzman asked, if we don't have any design program, how we can use it?
Well, that is the real trick then. Yeah, these are templates designed to be used in Adobe or any kind of design program. I'm not sure how they would be useful outside of any kind of, other than it gives you, what the size is. So I'm not sure how to use it outside of a design software.
Okay, I'm gonna help you with this one. Christian, if you need, you can use also Canva. You can use the PDF like an image, you put it upwards, and then you can work on it. It's not the best idea, but a print and play, it's useful. Okay. Then we have another question. Sorry.
I wanted to add on that. It's very important if you're using Canva, then have for prototypes, as Patricia mentioned, it's okay because you're going to be printing this at home and then you can build a prototype out of that. But think about for when you go to mass production, or if you want to do it some more formal, it's good to have an actual, you can invest or maybe get a free subscription for 7 days and work with these programs, because it's way better for us to, and it's you just save time on actually preparing the files, and it's much clearer on the actual the technicalities of the program. It's so much easier to get a correct file if you're using design programs that are specifically for design. So it saves time to you and for the team to check the files and everything if you're actually using those programs. So it's highly, highly recommended to do that.
Thank you. So we have also another question about Alfredo Morfin. Greetings. What will be the ideal format for a card arrangement so that the front and the back prints match? And is it the ideal for everything to exist in a single file, like the words, tokens, and cards, since the dimensions vary in each element?
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Alfredo. That's a very common question. So for manufacturing, the ideal format for card arrangements is if you have a common back, like you have the same back on every single card. Like I have this card here and I have this panda and he's going to be on every single back and I have different information on the front. The best way to do it is to lay each card out as its own separate page, and on the very, very last page have that common back. Now, if you have different backs, like let's say I have 10 cards with a blue back and 10 cards with a red back, then what you want to do is make two separate files, one with just all the fronts and the other one with all the backs. So like page 1 front, page 1 back, page 2 front, page 2 back. So you have a backs file and a fronts file. And that's the way that we typically like it. So it's easy for us to take the individual cards and then lay them out on a giant press sheet when they go on the press. So to review, like if you have one back, just have that common back as the last page of your card file. And if you have multiple backs, 2 files, a fronts file and a back file. And then you also asked about have everything in a single file, like the boards, tokens, and cards. We prefer not to have anything in a single file, so every component has its own file. So a game board, its own file, and cards, like we already said that already. Tokens, like punch board tokens, that would be its own file as well. So did that answer your question, Alfredo?
I hope so. I don't know where he is.
Okay.
Okay, so then we have another thing. Ulises told us that Inkscape, it's a free program. So Christian, if you need a professional program, Inkscape could be an option. And then Benjamin asked, I have a question. What about wooden tokens? Or the game should only consider cardboard tokens?
Well, pre-press doesn't cover wooden tokens. Not sure how to answer that.
I can answer that part.
Okay.
So in the case of like manufacturing, there is like going to be a separation between like pre-press, which is all the printed components, and then there is the other components such as dice, such as wooden tokens, as you mentioned. And so we will give you like a sheet, like I can share my screen if you like to just show you what it looks like. And let me find it first.
Let me check if we can do that.
Yeah, can I share my screen? Yeah.
I hope so. If you can try.
Let me try. Yeah, I think I can share my screen. Is everybody able to see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is called like a component spec sheet, and this is a different way to show the team who's going to be working with wood or plastic or other things, is that there is a specific on how, for example, the wooden tokens will look like. So in this case, we have here like panda meeples. So you would put like a front view, all of the information here, and then the size, here like height and width, and then the back view, and then the side view. And then here you'll put the colors. So in case that there are more colors, you will list all of the colors, and this is needed in Pantone. This is for mass production. So we will need Pantone colors to match like a specific colors. Sometimes there are a lot of programs that can like change or convert colors that you see like on the hex colors to Pantone, And this is what we will send to the wood team or the plastic team. And they will work with these views to actually like work on the components that are not printed. In this case, this is silks printed. So there is like a film printed with the white color. So that's why there is like a base color and then the ink color that's going to be applied to the wood. And this applies for any other tokens. And also in the template generator, as you saw before, there are also dice templates. So if we go, let me see here, there is like the template generator on the website, but there is also the dice templates. So you can find here different, like the 6, the 8, or whatever like numbers that you want on the dice. And then it will download this type of template. And this is the one you fill. So for example, if you want a D6 with numbers or pips, that you will erase like any other that you're not using. And if there is a custom engraving, you can put the images here, or like, and here is like the actual margins for like not putting like things outside of the borders. So for other components that are not printed, it will take like a different route. But there is like, you can send the images of how you want it to look. And then with the team, we'll work to get the samples and to get like the shape that you actually want to achieve. I don't know if that answers your question or not. But
Thank you. A really complete answer. We have another question over here. They say that if they want to do it like Carcassonne tiles, which should be the best option to use? Which template?
So with Carcassonne tiles, our punch boards, we don't really have a template that is already laid out for those kind of tiles. I mean, you can download the punch board template and then take a look. There's like some sample tokens in there, but for manufacturing, you'd have to take that punch board template and actually kind of lay it out the way you want it. I could show it real quick here. I might present.
Let me check if you...
Let me present something really quickly. I said I wasn't going to present anything, now I'm going to. A second here.
Don't worry. Okay, so here is an example of these punch board tokens, and they're die cut. And so these are laid out on the punch board. Well, here's an example that shows you the actual, like, how you probably would have tiles. So you would lay them out like this using the punch board template. You have to make the tiles yourself and step them over. But if you're making a Carcassonne style game with tiles, I would use the punch board template. If you're just making a prototype, you could probably just lay them out on a sheet of paper and cut them out for prototyping. Question, do you need any space between tiles when you do this punch board?
When manufacturing, yes. We need 6 millimeters of space between the cut lines. A cut line is any of the red lines in the template. That's actually where it gets cut. And again, this is for manufacturing. If you're just making a prototype at home, you can do whatever makes sense for what you got. But we also require like 3 millimeters of bleed on the punch boards as well. And this right here, I mean, I can get into this if there's questions about it, but this pertains to layouts of the punch board specifically for manufacturing. If people have questions on manufacturing, I can get into that, but if you're just making things at home, you don't necessarily have to worry about this.
Okay. I hope that works for you. Wait a second, I'm gonna check the questions. Gradings, verified, scale.
Oh, no, hold on.
Should only consider cardboard tokens. Lorenzo, do you have any question?
Do you have a question?
I think Lorenzo hands, but I didn't see it. Okay, so I have another question over here. I'm going to cover
Sure.
stuff. Wait a second. Do you have any? Okay, do you have any recommendations when doing dual-faced cards? Alejandro Castañeda.
Dual facing cards. I think it goes back to, if you mean dual facing cards as in the same image on each side. And it just goes back to what we talked about earlier. Probably the best way is to have a PDF with all the fronts in one file and all the backs in another file. And as long as page 1 and page 1 go together, page 2 and page 2 go together, that sort of thing. That's the easiest way of doing it.
Okay. And then we have another question over here. Wait a second. How can I properly symbolize which pairs go together in the cards? Like when you have the file, how do you match?
As far as like this front goes with this back, again, just making sure that in the files that the page 1 and page 1 are the same card. That's how we would do it.
Okay, perfect.
No.
And then we have another question. Just give me a second because the questions go down.
I can see it too.
Yes, sure. Okay, the question about how to send the files, I'm gonna answer another at the end. That file, please, for later. The Benjamin asked about the file. I hope it's the ones that you can see in the website of Panda. You got the link in the website of the Games Grumble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it says Jared Aline. My question is, why don't the templates have cut lines if the image needs to have an overlay? Sorry.
An overlay?
So I think Aline, the question is about the punch boards. Can you raise your hand and ask that, please?
Yeah.
Eduardo, I think Aline is there.
I'm trying to say, image needs to have an overlay. I'm not sure what you mean by an overlay.
Aline, you're free to ask if you want. I can hear you, but... Are you there?
Lo puedes preguntar en español y podemos ver si es que lo traducimos a ver.
Claro que
si
sí,
resulta.
sin problema. Pregúntalo en español, Aline.
Maybe we can move on to the next question and then wait until they get there.
Aline, si la quieres preguntar en español, Camila o yo podemos ayudarte a traducirla sin problema. Si quieres te esperamos. Vamos a ir con Eduardo en lo que estás lista, ¿te parece? Eduardo, ¿quieres hacer tu pregunta?
Sí, hola, muchas gracias. Hi, I'm doing for one of my board games like a cardboard mat. I think that will be the material, but I would like that you can draw and erase them. How can I do that or specify that?
Well, for manufacturing, you would just specify that we would be making like a dry erase board. And we can do that as well at Panda. We can do dry erase boards and even give you the dry erase markers when we're manufacturing.
Okay, thanks.
But, yeah, I mean, there's no kind of different template for that. It's just discussing those particular materials with your project manager.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Aline, are you ready? ¿Estás lista?
Hola, sí. My question is, why don't the templates have good lines in the margin should have a margin? The overlay it's margin. Why?
So I'm gathering the question is, why don't the templates have cut lines if the new image needs to have an... Now, in the overlay, are you referring to the bleed, the 3 millimeter bleed that extends past the cut line?
¿Sí? ¿Te refieres a lo que sale de la línea?
Sí, o sea, está la línea rosa, donde ves la carta y arriba tiene el margin, la margen. Pero ¿por qué no tiene líneas de corte si la imagen debe ir como sobre todo el cuadro?
Okay, just wait a second. I'm gonna put the card template so we can check that one. Wait a second. I have it. I don't know where I put it. Wait a second. I think the question is about exactly how to use the lines that you were talking about.
Oh, well, the best way to use the
Here.
template is if, like I said, in your graphics program, whatever you're using, to bring the template into your program and then have it as a separate layer, and then just build your art on the template, and then keep the template a separate layer that you can turn on and off.
Here, esta es la línea de corte. Aquí es donde va a cortar la carta. Here's gonna cut.
Mhm.
But we use this one. Usamos este en la imagen porque en algunas ocasiones el corte puede salir milimétricamente movido. It can move, right? That's why we use the bleed.
Yeah.
There are
Oh,
machines.
The purpose of the bleed is to extend it past the cut line so that, because if you have the color just go right up to the trim, as the cards go through our card cutting machine, tiny little fluctuations can make it so that it doesn't cut perfectly. It's pretty accurate. It's within, about a millimeter, but sometimes it doesn't cut quite. So that bleed helps to eliminate that issue of if it drifts a little bit while it's being die cut. So that's the point of the bleed.
Entonces, en español global lo hacemos, el bleed o el espacio, el margen que damos es por si en el momento de corte la máquina mueve ligeramente, tu carta no se vea en blanco. Por eso es que nos dan la línea verde, donde es el margen seguro, y ahí anclamos a que la imagen no puede salirse de ahí. Nada importante debe salirse de la línea verde, dejando que si por casualidad o por algún error la carta se moviera un poco, no tenemos un error en el corte y no pierdes información. Entonces, el corte es esta rosa, todo lo azul debería de hacerse y en lo verde es todo lo que está seguro. Si tengo texto, si tengo algo importante en la imagen, tiene que quedar dentro de la línea verde para que no pierda información importante. Eso sucede porque las máquinas, muy ligero, pero al mover tantas cartas pueden tener este pequeño error. Entonces, el margen de cortes es el magenta, siempre, ¿ok? ¿Eso contesta tu pregunta, Lynn? ¿Más o menos? ¿No?
No, pero porque lo que dijeron ya lo entendemos. Lo que pasa es que si la imagen va nítida sobre el cuadro, ¿cómo se sabe dónde está la línea rosa que está por debajo de la imagen? Porque no hay línea de corte que sobresalga. Yo así lo entiendo. O debe ir la imagen como en marca de agua para que se miren en los cuadros.
No, tú vas a poner tus hojas normales del tamaño de la línea azul y el montaje se hace en la preparación del archivo para impresión. Entonces, la línea va, como decía Eric, va sobre. O sea, tú es como un archivo que pones sobre y puedes quitar. Si lo haces, por ejemplo, en Illustrator, si lo haces en... te deja mostrar y ocultar la capa para que tu carta funcione, pero el margen y todas estas líneas que ves lo hacemos en el momento de imprimir, no es en tu archivo. O sea, solamente es que tu archivo quede del tamaño de la carta azul.
Ok, muchas gracias. Thank you, Eric.
Ok. Rodrigo, do you have any question?
¿Aló, me escuchan?
Sí.
Hola, gracias. Nos preguntábamos si la presentación que mostró Eric la van a compartir con nosotros después.
No.
Okay.
I can see and we can arrange a presentation for this. Eric, they're asking if you're going to share the presentation later, but we can arrange some specifics based on this, like print and play, and we can send it later.
Another thing we could also send out a link for after this is a link to our design guidebook, which has all the information that I had in that presentation I was sharing. And I can send a link out to that, and that's pretty helpful too.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna share it. Los voy a compartir en sus correos para que ustedes puedan ver las imágenes y todo. ¿Ok, Rodrigo?
That's all. Thank you so much, Eric. That will be useful.
You're welcome, Rodrigo.
Okay, so let me check if we have another... Lorenzo. No te escuchamos, Lorenzo. ¿Quieres escribir la pregunta y te ayudo a leerla? Show us an example of something file, maybe at cards. Ok, después presentación. So, Raquel is asking something. As manufacturing, what happens if I want to check options of components to make it like, sorry, my head just went out. It says, if I want to print our game, which option should be of components should be more like cheap? Like, do you have any list of what they already exist, or how do you?
I can answer this question, and I'll do it in Spanish.
Great, thank you.
En términos de los componentes, siempre, bueno, obviamente va a depender un montón de cuántos componentes tiene el juego. Siempre menos componentes es más económico que más componentes, pero también tenemos hay como un principio que es, por ejemplo, en términos de componentes impresos, tenemos punchboards, es más barato que hacer los componentes de madera. Luego, madera es más barato que hacer los componentes en plástico, y plástico es más barato que hacerlos en metal. Entonces, en general, si siguen como esa misma línea, pueden como tener más o menos una idea de qué sería más económico, y por lo mismo siempre tener en mente, mientras menos customizado es el componente, es más económico. Entonces, por ejemplo, si tengo un cubo de madera de un color plano, va a ser más económico que tener una forma específica de madera pintada. Entonces, mientras van pensando también cómo hacer como un juego como más accesible o más barato en componentes, ir pensando como en esa escala. En el fondo es como una matriz entre qué tan customizado es mi juego y qué materiales estoy utilizando. Obviamente ahí dentro de ese mismo material la cantidad también influye. Ahí veo otra pregunta que quizás puedo aprovechar de contestar. En temas de importación, si se encarga Panda o se puede hacer como se recurre a una importadora externa, nosotros como Panda tenemos un servicio de envío que es como DAP, que es Directly at Your Place. Este servicio es que nosotros nos encargamos de hacer la importación y mandar los juegos a alguna bodega, alguna oficina, donde ustedes quieran, y nos encargaríamos del proceso completo. Eso se maneja en una cotización aparte, y esa cotización obviamente tiene variaciones en precio porque los embarques varían mucho, o sea, si el mundo sigue igual y no hay problema, no debiese variar mucho los estimados de envío, pero de repente uno sabe, no sé, cuando fue la pandemia, que los precios de los embarques aumentaron mucho, entonces van fluctuando un poquito y el precio se finaliza, en el fondo se cierra cuando uno como que agenda el shipment, que eso es más o menos cuando está finalizando ya la producción en masa. Entonces, pero Panda puede ofrecer ese servicio.
Okay. They ask also about dice color, los dados de colores. ¿Tienen ustedes y cómo se solicitan?
En el caso de los dados, lo mismo que mostraba antes de los templates de dados que se pueden descargar de la página, ahí pueden enviar el pantón del color que quieren de base y el color que quieren de los números o los puntitos en el fondo. Y si es que es un dado customizado, se envía lo mismo, el pantón de los colores del dado, de los colores de la imagen, y ahí se envía cómo quieren que se vea en las caras, en el template con la imagen, y se envía las imágenes por separado. Entonces ahí se trabaja en conjunto con el project manager que va a estar como a cargo del proyecto, es cómo se va a ir viendo o los detalles del dado en particular. Y eso es un poco funciona así un poco para todos los componentes que son componentes no impresos, es decir, dados, miniaturas plásticas, todo eso se va trabajando con el project manager que les asignen. En este caso, probablemente sea yo, que en el fondo soy la que habla español en el equipo, entonces ahí trabajaríamos en conjunto para ir viendo como cuáles serían los requerimientos específicos de cada componente, se ve los tamaños, los distintos colores, pero de la forma en la que trabajamos nosotros es a través de como un project manager que va acompañándolos durante todo el proceso. No sé si ahí respondí las preguntas del dado, pero...
Bueno, respecto a todos los que están poniendo preguntas específicas del print and play, les voy a mandar materiales terminando el webinar respecto al print and play. Ahorita pueden utilizar todos sus espacios y dudas para usar los templates que les está compartiendo Panda y todo lo que tenga que ver con hacer la producción masiva, ¿ok? So Alfredo has another question. I don't know if you can read it. It says, what challenge have you faced in cards making, whether it's material, shape, size, or design, that have really lent themselves to or required modification for a game? Is it really important or worthwhile to modify the design, and is the material viable? I don't know.
Interesting question. What challenges have you faced in card making? I can't recall a situation where I've had cards that have been so challenging that required modification. The only thing I can think of where we've had to modify card designs is when dealing with really a large amount of ink levels, cards that use a lot of dark or black inks, and it exceeds what we could do on the press. I think talking about that's a little bit out of scope for what we're doing here, but that's the only situation I've encountered where I've had to go back and say, okay, we need to modify these cards. But as far as materials, I can't recall a situation where we've had issues. I don't know if Kami, if you've had any issues with cards.
Yeah, no, usually the only challenges we've seen are actually like design in the sense of inner process. Once we approve the digital proofs, then we go to pre-production phase. And that's where we print a physical prototype. And then we check colors, we check dimensions, materials, etc. And usually what happens is that people realize that there are like typos or when they actually play the game physically, once it's printed, they realize like maybe there are graphic design issues on like readability of the card, or how I don't know, like maybe if you have the cards in hand, you cannot see the numbers or stuff like that. So usually that takes up more time because then we have to go back to check the files again, and there are corrections to be made. So there is a lot of back and forth. So the challenge there is time, more than actually having a complexity in the material or the actual card itself.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this question is for Cami. They asked about Panda in Brazil.
Okay. I'll answer that in Spanish. Again, sorry, Eric. Con respecto a Panda Brasil, la fábrica se abrió hace poquito. Podemos imprimir siempre en ambos lados. La fábrica en Brasil, dado que recién comenzó, como en el fondo este año estamos recién haciendo los primeros proyectos y finalizando los primeros proyectos, hay cosas que aún no se pueden hacer en la fábrica en Brasil, como por ejemplo miniaturas plásticas o cosas muy complejas. Entonces hay proyectos que están saliendo completamente desde Brasil, proyectos que están saliendo unas partes que producimos en la fábrica en China, las enviamos a Brasil, y otros proyectos que en el fondo simplemente se imprimen en China, y esto depende mucho de la conversación que se hace con cada project manager. En términos de costos, es un poco más caro producir en Brasil, pero ahí también va a depender de a dónde son enviados los juegos, un poco lo que comentaban de si es que, por ejemplo, hay alguien que está mandando juegos a Estados Unidos, desde China la tarifa es 30%, pero se acaba de poner una tarifa de 50%, entonces ahí hay que ir viendo también como qué es lo que conviene, dependiendo a qué países van a importar. Entonces, la verdad es que es como un poco más como, perdón por esta respuesta, pero en realidad es como depende de qué componentes tiene el proyecto, hacia dónde va, cuáles son los como planes de cada proyecto para saber qué es conveniente, pero por ahora sí podemos imprimir en ambos lugares.
Perfect. Rodrigo, do you have any question? I don't know, I see.
No, I don't. Olvidé bajar la manito.
Okay. Perfecto. Okay, I'm gonna answer the other questions about the contest in Spanish. Eric, I'm sorry, but...
No, that's fine.
Respecto a las preguntas que han estado haciendo, la charla es en inglés, gracias a que Eric tuvo la oportunidad de acompañarnos, y Panda es uno de nuestros patrocinadores internacionales. Entonces, pues el idioma era algo importante para que pudieran tener un experto en el tema con la experiencia que tiene Eric, y que él hablaba pues inglés principalmente. En el tema de los tableros y de las cartas, todo respecto al print and play que se va a usar para el concurso, es importante recordar que primero van a pasar a la siguiente fase. Tienen pocos días, entonces por eso les recomendamos que lo hagan. De todas maneras les sirve, aunque no sea para el concurso, les funciona para ustedes. Justo lo que comentaba Cami, de que estás brincando, haciendo pruebas. Al tener un print and play y poder revisarlo, te da la oportunidad de verificar que tu juego es como tú pensabas que era y no solamente como sucede en tu cabeza. Entonces aprovechen la oportunidad, utilicen las herramientas de Panda para poder hacer sus cartas, verificar cómo es que funciona, o sus tableros o todo lo demás. La primera fase, o la fase que sigue, que es la fase donde los van a testear las comunidades, nada más se va a imprimir en papel. Entonces no pasa nada si no, o sea, si necesitan tokens, tal vez las comunidades van a usar botones o cosas, no exactamente la figurita que ustedes están pensando, pero sí platíquenle a los jueces de arte cómo es que funciona o cómo es que visualizan ustedes su juego. Entonces aprovechen este espacio para contarnos cómo debería de ser y traten de hacerlo de la manera más profesional, porque acuérdense que el objetivo del concurso es que tengan una plataforma que les enseñe a verificar todo este proceso, para que en el momento que ustedes quieran imprimir de manera masiva puedan hacerlo mucho más sencillo y que puedan ya tener un poquito de práctica. Entonces este concurso está hecho para que ustedes conozcan el proceso real de impresión del juego. Además, algunas editoriales están echándole ojo a sus juegos para escribirles y proponerles algunas cosas. Entonces, por eso es importante la ficha técnica, por eso les insistimos tanto en cómo se veían las cosas. Aprovechen ahora sus prints and play para que la gente pueda ver lo que ustedes están visualizando y que puedan las editoriales emocionarse tanto como ustedes con sus juegos. Y por ahí había otra pregunta del concurso. No necesitas usar las plantillas. Si tú ya tenías una plantilla tuya que como lo imprimes en tu casa, está bien, es funcional. No necesitas usar las plantillas de Panda. Panda nos está prestando esos espacios y esas plantillas para que ustedes puedan hacerlo de manera más sencilla si es que no tenían la experiencia de hacerlo. Creo que ya de ahí respondí todas las dudas. Y viene otra pregunta para Eric acerca del tablero, supongo. Dice, it's about the size of the... Oh, I'm not allowed... I don't have the option to check the question. Do you have the questions over there?
I can see it. It's in Spanish, so I can see it. It says that if the size of the board needs to be a specific size. So at Panda, we do everything customized. So we work with standard sizes, but also if there is not a standard size that you need for any component, like cards and game boards and anything, we can make it. So usually think about like what is actually needed for your game, and sometimes there is a balance in between, because of course using standard sizes it's cheaper because the tooling or the molds, los moldes, they have already been done, so you don't have to pay that. But if you want a specific size, and this is very important that you have this size for any specific component, we can make it. But then you have to have like this in mind, that it might be a little bit more expensive to do something that's customized. And that works for cards, boards, and punch boards, anything.
Perfect. And then you have another question for you. Can you do special cards? They say, can you do special cards like holographic foils, and how to prepare the files for that specific cards?
Yeah, we could. We can do holofoil cards. We can do cards with spot varnish. We can do a whole bunch of special effects.
And the files, you just need to specify, or do you need a special file?
With if you're doing holofoil, there is some special file setup that goes with that. Particularly, you have to mark the areas on there. I don't have anything to show at the moment, but with holofoil, you have to mark the areas where it actually is going to have holofoil. So you'll have like the art layer, and then you'll have another layer that is a solid, usually we use like magenta, just a solid 100% color that indicates on the card where the holofoil is. But if you're really pursuing holofoil, you can just talk to us and we'll guide you through the whole process.
Great, thank you. And then it says, Victor, las especificaciones de los prints and play vamos a compartírselas por correo, entonces eso no se preocupen, eso es un tema que veremos posteriormente.
I see the question about the miniatures. For the plastic miniatures, there are no specific templates as the ones that we saw now, like static or like templates for that. But what we do is we require the STL files or 3D files. And with that, the plastic team will check the scopes of like from these 3D files. But we also have like a specific sheet that shows like in 2D. So you show like the front of the image, the side of the image, and any different, like the way it looks on like different sides. And then the actual dimensions, and then the color. So it's very similar to what I showed for the wooden token. So the Panda meeple, it's very, very similar. But additionally, we actually work with the 3D files to make the plastic miniatures. I don't know for the contest specifically, like, or the print and play, how it's gonna work, but this is the way we do it, like when we manufacture the games.
Yes, just like that. Como lo dijo Camila, sí, así es igual acá. Okay, they said people had to assemble. They asked about the words that need to be assembled. How that works.
Like board that people had to assemble. Oh, like a constructible? Yeah. Like if you're doing a constructible, that is like something that's made out of punch board that you put together. Do I have one around here? I don't have one handy, but we've done constructibles. Like if you're familiar with Wingspan, the dice tower in Wingspan is a constructible element, and that was designed by the client, and that was all made from punch board, basically.
Right.
And that's up leveling your game to to a new level when you start putting in constructibles. And then you're asking about how is it managed in production? In the same way that we manage our punch boards, die cut them all. And then with constructibles, you definitely have to there's lots of sampling that happens. We have to send you samples. We have to assemble it ourselves to make sure that it all fits together.
Augusto, do you have any?
Just one more second, because I think this ends at 3. I mean, in a few minutes, so maybe we can have like one last question if someone wants to.
Yes.
And then if just so if there are any questions that are unresolved, you can send them to Patricia, and then we can answer all of those that were not answered during this call.
Perfect. Augusto, ¿quieres hacer la última pregunta?
Sí, ¿puedo hacer la pregunta en español?
Sí, claro.
Estaba escuchando lo que decía recién y mi pregunta es, por ejemplo, de prototipo tengo cubos de madera que son grandes y que se van torciendo y moviendo. ¿Eso se puede armar con punchboard, que sea encastrable y que terminen formando un cubo que se pueda mover?
Sí, se puede realizar. Eso, bueno, no sé ahora como para el prototipo, como no sé en términos del concurso, pero sí para la producción, como en la fábrica, hay como varias formas de hacerlo. Una es que se puede hacer como preensamblado, y eso tiene un costo un poco mayor, en el fondo, que es que la fábrica lo ensambla y lo deja armado, o simplemente se trata igual que como mencionaba Eric en el tema de Wingspan, que es algo que ya viene armado, o si no, generas como el puzzle de la forma. Eso obviamente se hacen testeos, como que funcione bien, que los cortes que están en la máquina funcionan bien, y se ensambla, el jugador mismo lo ensambla, como que en el fondo destroquela lo que viene ya armado, y ahí ensamblan ellos mismos ese cubo, pero funciona. Ahí en general ese diseño se hace siempre como que es el diseñador del juego o la editorial. En el fondo nosotros no armamos los diseños de ensamblaje. Lo que nosotros hacemos es simplemente imprimirlo. Hacemos las pruebas y todo eso, pero no hacemos el diseño como tal. Entonces ahí es cada uno en el fondo el que tiene que armar su archivo y asegurarse de que las dimensiones sean correctas, etc.
Perfecto, gracias.
¿No?
Perfecto, muchísimas gracias. Las demás preguntas les voy a compartir yo con el equipo de Panda para que les puedan mandar alguna retroalimentación de lo que tengamos. Vamos a tener este video también publicado para que lo puedan ver y consultar posteriormente. Y de las dudas de los print and play y del tema del concurso, les voy a mandar un correíto con toda la información para que lo tengan mucho más claro y que sea mucho más fácil. Igual pueden escribirme por correo lo que necesiten. Les agradezco mucho su tiempo. Thank you, Eric, for being here and spending your time with us. Thank you, Cami, for being here and to let us learn about it. So, thank you very much. See you soon. Hope so.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for all your questions.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye, chicos. Gracias. Sigo en contacto con todos ustedes por medio del correo.